First things first, I'ma say all the words inside my head.
Good evening. Welcome into the Lake County Sports Scoop. Oh, I'm excited here today. I'm back in the studio. So is Carson back, and we've got a lot to talk about when it comes to sports in Lake County. The tail end, believe it or not, with the season, with baseball, softball, soccer, lacrosse, all these sports came to an end just last week. And, oh, what a weekend we had, especially in Joliet. Grayslake Central Rams made it to the Final Four. They made it to the Final Two, did something they've never done before. And the only wish I had is that they took home the state trophy. And I got some players here thinking the same thing, believe it or not. Let me welcome in who's here today. Carson back. How you doing, Carson?
Doing good, Rusty. How about yourself?
I feel like I'm a little drawn out from the weekend from Joliet. My voice is a little bit lost, especially after we're announcing the games Friday. And I got to say thank you, to Bruce Becker being part of that broadcast. And thank the guys that are in front of us because they won their game Friday over Effingham, the Flaming Hearts, 9-1. And then they took on a very tough Nazareth team, which, in my mind, I thought they were going to win. I thought they had chances to do that coming in, but the Roadrunners, they got out too fast, and all the Ram Coyotes couldn't catch up with them. Oh, I'm sorry, that was, Wally E. Coyote that was supposed to catch up to the Roadrunner, one of the two. But they still made it to state. They got a second-place trophy, and you got to be happy for that. So, and with that, hey, Carson, guess who's here? My goodness, we have Rams in the studio. Not Coyotes, we have Rams. We've got the coach from the Grayslake Central Rams. That's Troy Whalen. We got a few players with us, too, which we happen to have players like Jacob Gerbasi and Luke Mudd and Riley Pollock. My goodness, we got a bunch of outstanding players. So, by the way, I'll fix it. Jack Gerbasi. Yeah. I got the last name right. I didn't get the first name. I was trying to do it off the top of my head. I know they're laughing at me on this. But first, let's bring in the coach, the guy that's been behind us for so many years. He's done so much to this baseball program. I've got a long list I can mention here with about 400 and, let's see if I can get this right, 493 victories. Am I close, Coach? Am I right on that, or am I short by one?
Sure.
Is it right around there?
It's around there.
It's around there. He doesn't want to even admit that. And you've coached for how many years?
It just goes to show you how old I am.
How many years you coached? 20?
This was year 20. Yep.
Year 20, wow. Well, first off, congratulations, Coach.
Thank you. Thanks for having us on.
And I know you've done so much to this program. How does it feel, taking second place, something that you haven't done, the school hasn't seen?
Yeah, really happy for our kids, especially, these guys sitting next to us. Each year, I think like most high school teams, we have a goal to get to the state tournament, and few make it, especially in baseball. I mean, it's not like the best team always wins, and you got to have some luck. You got to play well, and I think at some point during the season, maybe in May, I told our team, I said, you guys have done everything right, and you deserve the right to get to state. And you just kind of hope that there's going to be some good fortune, because you do have to have some good fortune along the way to get there, make a key play, get the benefit of a call. We could go through all the games and find a couple of compelling calls that either went our way, or big at-bats or big hits, all a part of advancement when you're talking single elimination baseball. So still hasn't quite set in, but just really happy for the kids and the community. Grayslake's a baseball community, and the number of text messages and messages that I've gotten from Sam Knox at the IHSA to the other guys who were doing the NHFS broadcast, just saying, loved watching your guys play, but holy cow, that community support that came out was just incredible. And when you live in a community, that's what you see. I mean, and we see that not only in baseball, we saw it in basketball, and we see it in Friday night lights and football. I mean, it's a community that supports its athletic teams.
Mm-hmm. Now, I know on Saturday night, a lot of support. There was a big parade down Center Street. Oh yeah. I got a chance to catch it too on social media. What did you think when you had the opportunity to do that, Coach? We'll get to the boys in a moment, but what did you think about that for that community support?
Just overwhelming. To see all the folks there on Center Street, and I'm talking families who don't have kids in the program, alumni, certainly you expect the parents to be there and brothers and sisters, but to see alumni, community members, when we turned on Lake Street, some people kind of just got out of their front door and they heard the sirens, and it reminded me of Remember the Titans or whatever, when all of a sudden people started getting out of their houses when they won the one game. And that's really kind of what it felt like. Again, something that I know I'll never forget, and I know these guys here to the right of me will never forget.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of great moments. I know the second place trophy is not the number one. It's not the best thing that you wanted to get when you left there. But who took the trophy home? Because usually, this is the question I always ask. Second place trophies are hard to take back home with you because you want the ultimate championship trophy.
Yeah, I think the spin we put on it was, and we mentioned, hey, look, the bus ride home was a bus ride of celebration. Yeah, I mean, you certainly, when you're in the moment, you want to be able to win the big game, but to be able to be playing in the last game of the season in 3A, there was only two teams that could say we could do that, and we were one of them. And I think that was, our approach. And we kept telling the kids in the huddle every inning, guys, enjoy the moment, just keep competing and putting on a good show. And I think we were just really one big hit away from, maybe getting back into the game. And on Saturday, it just wasn't meant to be. But one game doesn't make the season and the memories that these guys have created. So long answer, but the trophy's with me. It's actually... we had first day of camp today for little kids, so a lot of people were getting their picture taken with it and stuff like that. So it's tucked away right now, and now I got to try to get our regional and sectional and super sectional plaques back from these guys because I have no idea where those are.
Believe me, I think they're showcased on somebody's dresser drawer, on the wall. Nobody wants to give these stuff. None of these seniors want to do that. Carson?
Coach, what was your message after the championship game to your team? What was your message that you said to your guys?
Really just started with thank you. Thank you for taking me on this incredible journey with you. Thank you for the sacrifices that you made during the year. I mean, high school athletics is a privilege for anybody who plays it. It's not unique just to us. But these kids were asked to make so many sacrifices, and on nights when they could be, hanging out with friends, they're practicing late. They're getting up early on Saturday mornings for games, and they're in tune, they're in step, they're great young citizens and role models. So, in all honesty, it was, guys, thanks for taking me and the coaches on an incredible journey, because really when you get down to that, it's about making plays and the game between the white lines, and I was just as much of a fan as I was a coach.
All right, we got three boys over, just can't wait to get to the microphone. They're excited. They're sitting here thinking wow, what happened over this weekend? Who wants to step up first?
I want to play.
You want to, which is who are
I'm
you?
Jack.
You're Jack, okay.
Yeah.
Jack Gervais, you want to step in, the leadoff guy. No wonder why.
Yeah, right?
You want to step in there. What's going through your mind after all this?
Well, right after the loss, I was pretty bummed, because we lost the game and we could have been state champions. But probably yesterday, it really hit me that, damn, we were second in state, It's the second best scenario that we could end on. It could be worse, you know what I'm saying? I mean, we made history.
Mm-hmm. Let's go back. Let's go back to the start of the season. You guys got off to a good roll. Nice winning streak. What was it, 18, 19 games at one point?
I think they went perfect in April.
Something like that.
Yeah, we didn't lose in April.
And you had a great record. I'm looking down the list here, and I'm like, wow, look at all these W's. I can't count how many there are. There's just so many W's here, and you're right. It was from April 3rd all the way through May, actually, the first week of May, before Richmond Burton and Stevenson, the other team that made a run, actually got you 2 games in a row. But my question, though, Jack, is when did you start thinking, hey, this team can make a run to state?
We knew we could do this in winter when we were training. That was our goal ever since we... Well, actually, okay, let me take it way back. Since we were little kids, we've been saying we want to go to state. That was our dream. So we've been playing together forever and working towards that goal. And in the winters, everybody stayed dedicated, and it felt like we weren't playing just for fun, you know.
By the way, how little are we talking about here?
Well, like 10.
6? 10? Okay. I was thinking way back to T-ball. Did you get thoughts way back then? Hey, we can put a team together here. We can do this.
No, I wasn't thinking about that. I didn't play T-ball.
Well, you got to get this thought somewhere. I've always heard the stories over the years, and I know Troy can relate to this. You always hear, hey, we had this team, baseball, basketball, since 3rd grade, and we've had all this chemistry. And they just take it, level by level. And you never know when you can carry it all the way into high school. And that same group with the chemistry can take you to someplace like state.
Yeah, it worked out.
All right, let's pass the mic over to one of your teammates over here. And you are?
I'm Riley Pollock.
Riley Pollock. Carson, just to let you know, this guy sits at third base, okay? I don't mean he sits at third base, but this is, to me, the hardest position on the baseball diamond. What's the reason why a third baseman has to handle all these, should we say, hot baseballs that come off the bat?
Yeah, I get baseballs hit pretty hard at me most of the time. Especially, there was a couple in the state championship game. I think I had one I dove for. I came up short. There was another one that was smoked right at me, which we ended up turning a double play with. It's really, this was my first year playing third base. I used to be a catcher, and so, going into the season with just hopes of making a couple plays, it was honestly a crazy roller coaster for me, because I honestly made some plays I never thought I'd make before. And I did make a couple plays that I missed a couple plays that I should have made, but it was definitely a ride of emotions.
Now, you played on the turf there in Joliet, and for people that don't realize, this field is all turf, even around the batter's box, the pitcher's mound, the infield. It looks like dirt, but it's not. It's like a brown color turf field. So how does that ball play differently than playing maybe on your own field at Grayslake?
Well, on turf, it's obviously you're not going to get any bad bounces, so you really just got to pick up, you really got to read the bounces, and it'll help you a lot compared to dirt. Obviously, on our field, we like to say we don't get bad bounces, but sorry, Coach. I've had a couple this year.
There's a couple, I understand.
But yeah, on dirt, sometimes you're guessing. A lot of times you like to not guess, but sometimes it happens to go in your glove. But really on turf, it takes away the margin of error, and that's kind of what makes or breaks teams, too, especially in big games, where on dirt you could get a bad bounce that helps you out than compared to turf, where every play is pretty much in the reach of a fielder.
You being at third base, and I know I've seen this a few times from Monday and also on the weekend, but the double plays, not the ones that you get into, but the ones that you're actually making on defense. How much excitement do you guys get, not only yourself, maybe other infielders, to make that double play, and that lifts the ball club?
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge momentum booster. I think the one I made in the state championship was the first one I've been a part of this year. But it's really huge. Even though we were down big in that game, I think we had that double play to end the inning, and then we go right into that inning. I think I led off with a base hit, and then all of a sudden we were bases loaded with no outs, and then we capitalized and put another run on the board.
This is more a question for each of you guys. What was maybe your favorite individual memory and team memory for the season overall?
I would say a team memory. Just all the extra time we spent outside of baseball, before games. Coach, I don't know if you know this, but before every playoff game, we met up and just hung out as a team. And I think that it was a little bit of superstition, but I think it really helped our team chemistry. We all felt that being together and playing and just having fun was where we were at our best. So I think that was one of my favorite memories.
Yeah, I think security notified me of you guys being out on the field a couple times that night. So yeah, no, I broke that code after that, and I just kind of said, I don't know what you're talking about. But
all right, let's bring in the other player here. This guy has got a great name. His name's Luke Mudd, and he's not in the mud at any time. I mean, I like the way he plays. I like his bat. Had a great game on Friday night. Hit a couple doubles, got 4 RBIs. And that's a spacious field out there. Some people don't realize when you go to state or the super sectional, you're not playing on their normal field. Normal fields like a Grayslake Central, I don't know what the specifics are at Grayslake Central, but I've seen fields generally 325 or 320 down the lines, 370 to center field. You got out to Joliet the other day, and you're looking at, what is it, like 350 down the lines and 400 to center field. That's a spacious ballpark, and I know everybody in the outfield, you got to play either somewhat shallow or somewhat back, but the farther back you go, that opens up the gaps to the outfield. Luke, tell us what your thoughts about playing on that field.
So when I'm in the field, for the outfield, we have this motto that we go by before every inning called the no-fly zone. And before every game, we kind of or at state before every game, me, Jack, and our other outfielder, Adam, we would talk and say, always be backing up each other, because if a ball does go through one of our legs and it rolls to the fence, like you said, and when it's 370 feet, it's kind of hard to get it into home plate before he can make it there. Mm-hmm. And the goal was just to make sure that if an error was made, that we're always backing up somebody. But when you're in the box, coach always says shoot the gaps. So that was kind of my mindset when I was batting, and thankfully I could do that, because getting to the ball in a big gap, like 100 feet in between two fielders, it's tough. And if you can make it to second, you might even be able to make it to third.
Yeah, I was noticing back in the Effingham game, the center fielder was kind of playing further in a lot more than I thought. I'm sitting there thinking, hey, if one of you guys could just put the ball to the gap, get it over his head, you can run all day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was definitely a game plan of ours when we were playing in the outfield, to make sure that we're back, because it's easier to come in on a ball, and getting beat over your head at that field would be very bad. But for the other times when we're in the box and watching the outfielders, you kind of just hope that you hit the ball not to where they were.
Now I know you played Stevenson in Northwestern. How much did that help when you think of playing at Northwestern and then coming to a field like Joliet?
Definitely helped a lot, especially because during summer ball we'd play there a few times a year, or a few times during the summer, and you kind of get used to the spaciousness of the outfield when you're standing out there, and again, when you're in the box, you get used to trying to shoot the gaps and stuff. So it definitely helped a lot. But again, once you're on a big stage like that, it's a lot different than what it is in summer.
Coach, this is more a question for you. When you have this much success, how did you communicate to these guys to keep improving on their skill and not settling for anything, because you guys went through a pretty dominant stretch this season. How did you keep these guys motivated throughout the year?
They kept themselves motivated. I think there's a culture of winning and competing. Within the program, we have a saying, everybody wants to beat the Ram. When schedules come out, I'm convinced that we're circled on everyone's calendar. We get everybody's best shot, and we go through the grind to kind of prepare for that. And these kids like to compete, and they want to be, they understand the bar is high has been set high by past teams, and I think that's the biggest motivator is, hey, I want to continue with the tradition and the culture. I mean, that's part of our motto, and I think each group just kind of buys into that, and winning doesn't hurt. And these guys played at an elite level this year. Winning 20 games, unheard of. And I think the level of confidence that they were playing at, it wasn't always stylistic from style point standpoint, and I would tell that to some folks, but they always found a way to win, and they were just grinders and gamers. And I found myself actually being more of a spectator than a coach most of the time, and that probably was a good thing as well.
Mm-hmm. Coach, we're talking about these guys, but what about the pitching? I mean, Will Schufrider, is that how you say it exactly?
Yeah, that's Will. And
I mean, the effort that he gave you Friday night, going for a no-hitter into the 6th inning, I mean, that was amazing, number one. But You had some great pitching with Chris Rogers and others on this team. You can mention a few other names too. But I'm looking down this list. It looked like a year of outstanding pitching that kind of stood out for the Rams.
Yeah, great point. I mean, high school baseball is about pitching and defense. And, we knew we were going to be elite on the mound. We returned 200 innings from the previous year of a team that, won 30 games and lost 1-0 in the sectional semifinal. And I think that served as part of a motivator for these guys as well. So we had a number of quality arms returning. And, the biggest challenge for a coach, from a coach's standpoint, was to try to find the innings for them. Because, there were some guys that maybe threw an inning or two in the state tournament that, quite honestly, were pretty good. And as dominant as, Will and Chris were with a couple of complete games, and then Colin coming in, it was hard to get guys some time. And, guys like Max Wool and Max Mordecai and Fikret Dermis and Zach Antonucci and Nolan Mousset, you look at the innings these guys threw during the year, they all threw north of 15 to 17 innings. I mean, they were part of that 20-game winning streak. And, it was hard. We just couldn't get them worked into the rotation because your rotation shortened in the postseason. And, yeah, I mean, Will and Chris and Colin just took it to another level. Mm-hmm. They just did.
And then another point I'm going to go across. I'm looking down your lineup here. And if I'm an opposing manager, I'm looking at this. Wow, look at these guys' averages. And it's not the extra base hits that get me. It's just guys that know how to get on base. I mean, is it something you do fundamentally? Is it something the boys have on their side here that says, hey, we got to get on base, we got to get the base hits, we got to move runners? Is it a combination of both?
I'll start off by saying, I was on record with these guys early in the year and probably in the fall, basically saying this was the worst hitting team that I've coached in the program. So I don't think that much, that these guys made me eat those words, and I'm proud to say that, and I'm still eating them. It's a credit to them. But, our hitting coach, Tony Tishy, does a phenomenal job with these guys, and I think the quality at bats and the grinders at the plate. When we're practicing, nobody wants to see me down by the hitting cage because I just mess the kids up. So I'm always told to just go somewhere else. So, I mean, these guys, you got to stay in your swim lane when it comes to that. And I think these guys bought into baseball's a team sport, but you're trying to win your individual battles, and especially as a hitter. And when it's you and the pitcher, you're trying to win an individual battle, and not so much by getting a hit, but it could be by just having a quality at bat, making that pitcher work. You see 6 or 7 pitches, it just makes it easier for the guy hitting behind you. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, the depth that we had, 1 through 9, and a couple of other guys, I should apologize to all these guys for what I said, but I can't take it back. So anyway.
I'm going to ask one of these guys, whoever wants to step in. I mean, I'm looking at these averages. I know Luke Mudd, for example, he's 354 coming into the state tournament. That says a lot, especially when you're looking at the number of hits he had throughout this year, the RBIs. You got a hitting coach that helps out there. What do you do when you get to the plate? I know players nowadays are crowding the plate to get on base, which makes it tougher to swing. If you're closer to the plate, that's a tough swing angle to try to hit the baseball. But you don't know some of these pitchers, but how do you kind of adjust to get the bat on the ball?
I kind of always... before I step in the box, take a nice deep breath and calm the nerves. And there's also writing on my bat. It says evoke, and I stare at the O in evoke when I'm going up to the plate, and it kind of just makes me think I'm about to do something. And when I'm looking at that, and then I see a baseball, it almost tricks my mind into thinking that the baseball's a little bit bigger. And I know I'm not the strongest guy on the team either, so my goal wasn't to hit 5 home runs or so. It was just to get on as best as I can. And I always was, at the start of the year, Coach can attest to this, that I was probably the worst outside hitting hitter on the team. And then one weekend, I only put the tee outside of the plate, and I hit for 45 minutes. And then the next week, I think I had 3 base hits to the right side. So it's definitely a lot of in practice, but also outside of practice time, you have to spend time on your craft or you're not going to be good.
I didn't know they served watermelons, but I do remember a former Cub player that thought he was hitting watermelons, especially for home runs way back when. But,
probably a few of them.
Yeah, a few of them would think that way. But anybody else want to chime in? Jack?
Sure, I'll say something, but what was your question? I don't even remember.
The question is about hitting. I mean, what do you do? I mean, he's got his ideas there, but what do you do when you come up to the plate?
Well, I do this weird little squat thing before I walk up. It gets my legs going, and just kind of focus up. It's my time to shine, and I'm telling myself I'm gonna, like, me and this pitcher are enemies. I be talking to myself in the box. I'm like, come on, give me that. And then, like, the ball's coming, like, I'm pissed, you know what I'm saying? Like,
hey, this is great stuff.
Yeah.
I might steal this, in my 12-inch league. This might help.
If the pitcher's throwing gas, I'll choke up. I'll just admit it, All right, I'm going to choke up. I'm going to have to swing a little faster, you know what I'm saying? I'll get back in the box. And I just try to hit the ball up the middle every time. If it's inside, then I'll pull it. If it's outside, I'll hit to the right side. So if I'm always thinking up the middle, it usually works out. Just find the barrel.
Is this something like you developed when you were younger and you just kept with you all these years? This idea? Or
I think I developed it. I just been swinging my whole life, but I think I started to focus on the little things as I got older and got more consistent about doing things that worked.
Mm-hmm. I know you guys are all seniors, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So next step, what are you looking at for college? You going to play ball somewhere? Is that a possibility?
I'm not. I might play in some intramural league for fun or something with my friends, but...
Yeah, I don't plan on doing anything, but intramurals are like a club.
Where are you guys going to? Luke, where are you going to?
I'm going to the University of Tennessee.
All right. Jack?
I'm going to Michigan State.
Ooh.
I'm going to Illinois State.
Okay. Well, somewhat staying in the Midwest.
Yeah.
I was waiting for these guys to pick out, someplace out west or south where it's nice and warm all year. We can do a lot of things in warm weather. I mean, that's what I would think. But then again, you're not playing baseball. You guys are going for academics.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Smart kids.
Well, that's
Smart
right.
kids,
Well,
Rusty.
I'll be honest. We
smart,
were talking
gifted
before we
kids.
got into the year, and they were saying how smart your team is academically.
Yeah.
And that's really important for baseball.
Do you know what majors you guys are going for? And maybe if you guys will eventually come back to coach for baseball down the road, too? Coach is like, no.
Yeah, I'm doing engineering.
Yeah, I'm doing chemical engineering, too.
I'm going into marketing.
All right. Do you have any players that might go into college and play ball?
Yeah, we have like 8 or 9 of them going on. Yeah, Chris Rogers is going to Lindenwood. That's D1 as a two-way guy. We have a number of guys, going to play at the College of Lake County. Ralph DeLeon, Max Modikai, Max Wool, Colin Cornett. Garrett Gunther is going to Central Iowa College. Parker Greenfield is going to Buena Vista. Cam Marson's going to Loris. So I think I just covered everybody.
Yeah.
Will Schufrider's going to College of Lake County. So these guys are going to continue playing baseball. And back to the earlier point, we say it a lot. Correlation in the classroom, success in the classroom bleeds over to success on the field. And I believe that. And these kids aren't angels. They're not perfect. No kid is. But they great role models for a number of people in the town, in the community. And I'd be lucky to call any one of them my son. And I have great kids of my own. And these kids are just wonderful human beings, and they're going to do great things at the next level. They're ready to take the next step in their lives.
3 straight years of 30-plus win seasons. What does that mean to you, Troy?
It just means I've just been very fortunate, and I've been surrounded by a lot of talented dudes that just want to grind it out. You don't. That doesn't happen by accident. Number one, and number two, that ain't coaching. That's talent. Mm-hmm. Okay, you can maybe coach up a couple of games. The rule of thumb in the IHSA, IHSA allows you to play 35 games. Unless you're really, really bad or really, really good, you can guarantee you're going to lose 10 and win 10. It's a question of what you do with the other 15. And those other 15 are always on the guys. In the 15 games that they wanted to go after, they were 15-0. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's how important it was for them to compete and win. And they did it with style. They did it with grace. They respected the game. And as a coach, that's a beautiful thing to watch. And that's all you could ask them to do.
We want to extend congratulations not only to Grayslake Central baseball team, the community. This is just an outstanding achievement for the school.
Yeah, it's a great achievement for the school and the community, and obviously want to thank you for having us on and recognizing the kids one more time, and letting their fame status extend by a couple of days. So it's great. Thanks for having us on, Rusty.
That's why we got a big hand for you, believe it or not, to pass along to you guys, because you guys just were outstanding in what you did.
Sounds great. We appreciate
All right,
that.
thanks
Thank
for
you.
coming in.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for coming in.
All right, we're not done yet. We got another team coming in, a softball team that was just as good as this Grayslake Central Rams team. I'm not saying any more. I'm not making any fuss between the two, because they both took second place. Back right after this on the Lake County Sports Scoop.
WRLR 98.3 FM.
Patriotism is like charity. It lives in the heart. Fred's Diner in Grayslake wants to thank the military for standing tall and fighting for the red, white, and blue. Bold stripes, bright stars, and brave hearts is what this country stands for. America, without her soldiers, is like God without his angels. We don't know them all, but we owe them all. Patriotism. It runs deep at Fred's Diner in Grayslake. This nation will remain the land of the free as long as it is the home of the brave.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. Maybe you're not sure how you'll make rent, or you lost your job. When you don't know where to turn, let 211 be your guiding light. Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need.
211, how can I help you?
Call or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected. Get help. A message from United Way and the Ad Council.
Tune in every Monday night at 7 p.m. right here on WRLR 98.3 FM. I'm Marty Love, the host of Bacon Bits with Master Happiness.
And I'm not alone.
You're not?
I am not. I'm here with my bestest buddy, Tiffany. There you go.
We've all got reasons to be scared, angry, or sad. Happiness is outnumbered 3-1. Give us a little bit of your time, and we'll see if we can give you a reason to smile. That's Bacon Bits with Master Happiness, Monday nights at 7 p.m.
Isn't it nice?
We are the NFHS. That stands for the National Federation of State High School Associations. But really, what we stand for, together with the IHSA, are the 333,000 high school sports and performing arts students in Illinois. And so, we stand. We stand for the runners, debate team members, and basketball players. We stand for their coaches, officials, and adjudicators. We stand for the drummers, football players, and actors. We stand for the golfers, singers, and swimmers. We stand as the national leader and advocate for these essential activities and all who participate in them and make them possible. Because it is our purpose to ensure that high school students get to play, perform, and compete together. To learn more about who we are and what we stand for, visit nfhs.org.
Hi, this is Ronald Curtis Grace, host of the Ear Candy Emporium show right here on WRLR 98.3 FM. Join us every Friday from 4 to 6 p.m. Central Time. We'll share some great music, have a laugh or two, and get your weekend started on the right note. That's the Ear Candy Emporium show, the home of sweet musical treats, every Friday afternoon from 4 to 6, right here on WRLR 98.3 FM and streaming live on WRLR.FM. See you then.
The following is made possible by Dad.
Why was the basketball court all wet? Because the players kept dribbling all over it.
The dad joke. Corny, grown-worthy, but also one of the simplest ways to share a moment with your kids.
Why do you have to be careful when it's raining cats and dogs? Because you might step in a poodle.
And kids that spend more time with their dads grow up to be smarter, more successful.
Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding.
And with any luck, funnier adults.
Why didn't the skeleton go to the dance? Because he didn't have anybody to go with.
Dad jokes rule. So take a moment to make a moment and give your kid a laugh. It's as easy as going to fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
That's really funny.
WRLR 98.3 FM.
Welcome back to the Lake County Sports Scoop for a Monday evening. I feel lost here this evening. It's the first time back in studio in 3 weeks, Carson.
Well, that's because we've been covering great games, Rusty.
Well, that's true. We had Memorial Day, took that day off. Then we were at the Super Sectional games in Schaumburg, so that took a week off. Well, not literally, because we're doing the games at Schaumburg Boomer Stadium. And then over the weekend, we were in Joliet, but we should not have been there. We should have been in Peoria.
Right, but watching another great NLCC team.
Yeah, well, not only great, I thought they were one of the best teams in the state. In fact, I still think they're the best team in the state in my mind. And that being the Antioch Sequoits. And guess what? We invited them in the studio here for their great season, great accomplishment, finished second in state. In fact, I really want to go travel to Lemont right now and steal that trophy and bring it back here. Because I said to the coach here, Anthony Rocco, back in the middle of April, I said, this team's got the capability to go to state. He didn't want to think about it yet. But I wasn't throwing any jinx or anything, Anthony. I really had a feeling that this team had so much to offer.
Oh, yeah, a lot of talent, a couple of Division I players, great depth we had, a couple of four-year varsity players, and a lot of kids with experience. You know, obviously been down state previously or third place and got us to the sectional year before.
Mm-hmm. I know you built this up previous years, even this year. But going through the state run, what were you thinking? What were you thinking on the fact of playing some teams that you were playing and you're, kind of handling each opponent that was in front of you?
Yeah, we just kept this one. We just told the kids, one team at a time. We can't look past anyone. That's a mistake a lot of teams make because you saw some of the bigger teams get knocked out. But we told the kids that it doesn't matter if they're ranked, unranked, if they're known, if they have a 500 record, if they're, winning, 90% of their games. You just got to take it one team at a time and then go about your business. And we did that. I mean, we kind of kept the pressure off us. I think the only nervous game we kind of had might have been Wakanda at the Super Sectional just because we've seen them 3 times. And, I mean, as a coaching staff between me and my assistant, we weren't nervous for anything. I mean, we knew as long as the girls did their job, they were going to take care of business. I mean, and that's all it was. We had a right game plan, and they went through and they executed. They played what we needed to.
And the state semifinal, you beat Charleston 3-0. Then the championship game was Lemont, and I during the game that we were announcing, Grayslake Central, we are sitting there posting the scores every inning or two that we were announcing that game, trying to keep up to date because it was the same time frame. And I keep seeing it 0-0, 0-0. We're starting to think that, okay, Antioch's the home team. Antioch's going to pull something out with a walk-off win at some point. And this game kept going to extra innings, and we're like, something's got to happen. Something's got to work. And then we saw the final, unfortunately, which you lost the game 1-0. But I hate to admit that pitcher on Lemont, what's her name? Monaco, I think is the last name?
Sage.
Sage Monaco? There you go. And she's going to South Carolina, but she had 24 strikeouts and didn't allow a hit. I know the girls will probably help me out on this, but, Coach, what did you see that you just couldn't achieve from her?
She threw hard. She moved the ball. She didn't really throw it in any pattern. She kept us off balance and just good movement. I mean, it was very consistent. I think she was throwing it almost at a 90% strike rate at one point.
And I know that stuff. You probably haven't had a pitcher do that to your team all year.
Not at that level. We played some top-level pitchers around the state, some other scholarship kids. She was just on a different level and was on her game and on point that day.
Mm-hmm. And I wish you could have had that walk-off hit. And I know your girls would like to have that too. Slap single, get somebody around and score. That would have been nice to see, to win that game. But still, second place, what does that mean for a coach like you?
I mean, just a huge accomplishment. I mean, just from the team aspect. I mean, it's more the kids than me or my assistant do. I mean, we just have the talent, we have the workhorses, the kids put the effort in. I mean, we have a quality program, great depth. There's a program. We had 20 up on the varsity for the playoff run. I mean, it's a huge accomplishment. I'm just going to keep taking steps forward, because if you look at it, a couple of years ago, we made it to the Super. Obviously, didn't make it downstate. Last year, we took third. This year, we took second, and then hopefully next year, we'll be hoisting the championship trophy up.
Coach, you have a lot of players coming back for next year. How are you going to maybe use this state experience to help fuel preparation for upcoming season after having such a special experience?
Well, after finishing second, I think the desire's still there to win the whole thing. So, I mean, for the kids returning, they've got the experience. They know how it plays at state and, at different points throughout the year. I think they're just going to be hungrier for it and want to, finally get that state championship and be the first in Antioch school history. And I think that's what's going to drive them.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's talk to some of these ladies here, because they are talented. They are unbelievably, I don't want to use the word gifted, but they show so much ability in what they do out there. And maybe we'll start with J.C. Schuler, because she's one of the pitchers here. How excited is this season been?
Yeah, it's been really exciting. I would say playing great competition and battling with them throughout the season really showed our fight and also gave us a lot of confidence going into state. We said all along, we've always had a big, everyone's been hunting for us, wanting to beat us throughout the season, and I think we really proved our points, and especially at state for fighting for 12 innings, I really think that proved a point.
And one thing I noticed here, you had an ERA that was under 1 throughout the year. How much do you strive to keep it at that level?
Yeah, I don't really focus on my stats as much. It's more of like a team, I would say. When I'm throwing, I just want to keep it as low of a score as possible so our offense can come around and hit and at least score 1 run to keep us in the game. So that's usually what I'm thinking.
Now, there's a difference between softball and baseball pitchers. Mm-hmm. You can throw all day compared to a regular pitcher. You get tired, I understand that. But how fast can you throw one of those softballs? Have you ever been recorded?
This past season, I've been hit at 63 was my hardest. But I would say I'm consistently 60, 61.
And you're throwing from 47 feet, is that what it is?
43.
43 feet.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to push the mound back anymore.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's still tough to hit.
Yeah.
From that distance.
Yeah, it's definitely hard. As much as people want to say baseballs are harder to hit than softballs, I really think I just think it's really different. They're two completely different pitches. Mm-hmm. So,
how many pitches do you have in your resume there?
Yeah, I have a changeup, a curveball, and a rise ball. So, only 3. But.
And which one's most effective? Don't give it away, but which one's most effective out there?
I would say I use all 3 of them equally. I wouldn't say I have a favorite or the one I throw the most or a strikeout pitch, because I like to keep batters off balance by different pitches. So I would say all 3 of them.
Mm-hmm. You guys had a very dominant season, only having 1 regular season loss. At what point did you guys realize that you guys had something special?
I think it was just more the chemistry between all of us. I mean, pretty much all 20 of us get along super, super well. And I mean, it was not even on the field, off the field, we all care for each other so, so much. And it's all of our talent put together, I think on the field made it even more special of a team, I think, personally, because it's different when you're playing with girls that you really feel passionate to not only play for yourself, but play for everyone around you. It takes your intensity, I guess, to a whole nother level.
And we got to say who this is. And you are?
I'm Sierra Gilmore.
Well, we got to know who she is. And you played what positions?
I pitch and I play third.
Okay, now are you pitching equally, or is she more, or is Jacqueline more pitching than you are? Or JC, I mean.
JC pitches, I think, most of the games. I mean, I pretty much I pitched during regular season, not really playoffs.
Do you ever relieve too, or more just starts?
It kind of depends, because I mean, last year during our super sectional against Wakanda, I came in after not even the first inning, and I had to finish the game, which I wasn't really expecting. But I mean, most of the games that I've pitched, I guess, it's been mostly starts, I think. So.
Sierra, she's a pitcher, you're a pitcher. How much do you guys kind of coordinate, talk to each other, work on things?
I mean, like, especially during playoffs, I can read JC pretty well. And so, like, I played third, so I'm always over there talking to her and kind of encouraging her and helping her out through, like, certain situations. Like, I mean, it's always nice, I think, personally, to, like, have someone to bounce things off of. And, I mean, of course she has Grace behind the plate, but it's easier, I guess, for me to just run up to her and be like, hey, you got this, or, like, talk through whatever she's thinking, because, I mean, I like to help her out. I mean, she doesn't really need it, but...
Now, you mentioned Grace, and this is good because we've got two pitchers. We need a catcher to come in here. Grace, welcome in. Congratulations. Tell us what it's like to basically catch these fine pitchers here, because they're two different pitchers and still be able to get other teams, strikeouts or get them off base there.
Yeah, catching for the both of them is very exciting. They're both, like, very talented pitchers, honestly, in different ways. Like, they each have their own strategy, and it's different for me with each pitcher, like, going into it. And I think that they do a really great job, like, with all of the talent around us. They definitely work with me, and they kind of work with each other. Like, they're each, like, talking to each other about things, and like Sierra said, she's going up to JC in innings on the field and just kind of like having another pitcher out there on the field with you to kind of like reassure you or understand how to calm you down is very important. And they both kind of like relay that to me between innings, just so I can like help them out.
Grace is a very talented pitcher herself, as she got her a couple innings in this year against the defending state champs.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, our doubleheader. I went in for like, what, 3 innings?
Two and a third.
Yeah.
How nervous were you?
Not nervous at all, actually. I was pretty excited. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I definitely didn't expect it, but it's one of those things I'll remember.
As a catcher, though, what is the toughest thing to do? I mean, you're handling the pitchers. Is it throwing the the player going from first to second? Is it handling the bunt or the slab bunt, trying to communicate with the fielders?
I wouldn't say that any of it is necessarily the physical aspect, but more of like the mental aspect of calling pitches and just knowing your pitcher and what they're feeling confident with and communicating with them on the field and in between innings, and just kind of like reading the batters, like being able to recognize what they can and can't hit and what the best like strategy is going towards someone.
What are usually the conversations like between you and the pitcher, like whether it's between innings or in between batters? What are some of the conversations like catcher and pitcher?
It's mainly just communicating what the pitcher is feeling comfortable with, and sometimes I'll talk about like what I've noticed with the batters, and if I'm calling something that she doesn't feel comfortable throwing that day, then we talk about it and we come up with a better strategy, and we just kind of like go back and forth with game plans and different ways to attack certain batters that have already hit, just thinking of something to strike them out or get them to hit out next time.
All right, let's bring in Jaden Ruiz. She's the cleanup hitter here, I believe, around the team. And it's funny, too, because just like that, I'm looking to see what her average was this year. Impressive. What was that, 469? Is that right, during the before the state 2 games? I mean, that to me tells me that how much of this is a hitting team that could hit the base, or the softball in this case, but how do you go into the season? How do you hit the way you're doing?
I'd say having a good mindset is probably like the most important thing. Like just walking up there and knowing like that you can hit it, and just confidence, main part.
Now, you hit a lot of extra base hits. I'm sitting here the most on the team, 16 of them, outside the last 2 games because they don't calculate that for statistics. But where do you find these doubles? I mean, the field itself is 200 feet all the way around, so there's not a lot of gap room generally in softball. So how do you find these doubles?
I guess being fast or like overthrows, I guess, but it kind of just depends.
Do you try to hit the gaps? You try to hit down the lines?
Yeah, I'd say line drives mostly, or grounders.
What about the rest of the team? Does everybody kind of work with each other, help out to get these great averages? I mean, you look up and down this team, you're seeing 300, 400, 500 averages for an entire season. That's impressive.
I say hitting's contagious. So, like, if Eden steps up and she hits a ball, then like you have the momentum to hit one, and then the person after you. So just.
Coach, what do you install to these players to hit the ball? I know we talked a little bit about that previously when we had you on earlier, but something is more than contagious for what these girls can do.
Well, we talked about at the beginning of the year. It's about, what we're doing in different counts, pitch selection, what pitch are we trying to hit, not helping the other opposing team out, looking for something to drive. A lot of times when we have 2 outs and nobody on or a runner on one, we tell them to think big, shoot for the outfield, try to put somebody in scoring position to set up the offense for the game. But, like, our big focus all year has been our hitting. I mean, I think 5 out of 6 days we've just been hitting, whether it's live off JC and Sierra and some of our other pitchers, or if we're just doing hitting drills. It was just our big focus since last year we only hit about 315 as a team, and this year I think we hit like 425 as a team. So that was our big push. It takes the pressure off the defense, takes the pressure off our pitching. We had a lot of options on the in the lineup and on the bench. So it was just like Jane says, contagious. And sometimes other things is like when people step up, like if somebody's struggling, somebody else comes up and picks a team member up. Like Grace in our first game against Wakanda came in and hit 2 bombs for us, a solo shot and a 2-run shot, just picking up the team wherever we needed it.
Mm-hmm. Now the celebration that you had on Saturday, what was a big parade? Is that what happened in Antioch there?
Yeah, we had an escort by the fire department, police department, and obviously the fans greeted us at school, and then they had a little post-game celebration, Anastasia's, in downtown Antioch.
Mm-hmm. Now, is this the highest finish of any team in Antioch?
Yes.
History?
Yeah.
That's what I thought I heard.
Yeah,
the
highest
the
finish.
Basketball team was 4th years ago.
And wrestling's finished 4th a couple times, and for the sport, I mean, it's the first team to ever competed in a state championship game. So that was a first for Antioch across all the sports.
How do you ladies think about that?
I just think it's awesome that we can, especially me being a senior, I think it's cool to kind of go out with a bang. I hope these ladies continue to do great next year, but I also am so, happy that at least I've personally, our team has left a mark on the school and kind of put Antioch on the map for softball, at least.
Yeah, and I think the main thing is also just community. Even this week we're hosting camps for the younger girls, and I can just tell they're looking at us very different. And they really just look up to us, and I think that's, the biggest thing is being good role models as long as good softball players. So I just think it's a big community thing.
I also think that it just brings each of us and our families, a great sense of pride, and it's just fun to be able to do something so great to support our high school and the community. It kind of helps put us on the map a little bit more. Not a lot of places around the state know about Antioch, but I think us making it so far and doing such a great job this year, it kind of puts us on the map more and helps our school gain more recognition.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we left a good mark, and now we have to push harder. But I'm proud of everyone and it was fun, a good experience, especially as a freshman. And watching all the seniors leave was kind of sad. But
who came up with the Queens of the North? Where did that come from?
That was the football coach, right?
Yeah, the football
Brian
coach.
Glasgow came up with that? Wow. Okay, because I've seen that all over social media lately. Queens of the North. So, who's got the second place trophy now?
It's in my house. I forgot to turn it in today, but it'll be in there tomorrow.
Okay, who took the trophy, home from the park the other day? Because nobody likes to grab that second place trophy. They want the first place trophy. Was it just you, Coach?
No, somebody took it to the bus. I can't remember who.
I think Emily Breck might have.
Okay, I just want to make sure, because usually you work so hard, you want that championship trophy. And I've seen this before so many times. The second place trophy sits there on the bench. Nobody wants to pick it up. And the coach has got to pick it up and take it with. I don't know if you would do that.
Yeah, I just think, as much as we did want to take first place, it's I think all of our team almost felt like it was a win to us. We did break school history, and it's I think second place was pretty good for our school. So it's we did take pride in that. As much as we were upset at first, we took it as a win.
And I mean, the night before our game, we were sitting in our hotel room, and a lot of us were saying how, no matter what happened the next day, we were all so proud of each other for, even being where we are, because it was just such like a huge accomplishment for all of us that it was just like no matter what happened, like we were all going to be so proud of each other and like so happy for each other.
All right. Any other last comments? We got to run out of here. We're up against the clock. Ladies, no?
Nope.
Okay. Well, we want to thank you. Congratulations, not only to the Antioch girls softball team, to the community, to Antioch itself. It's a great accomplishment. And thank you for coming into the studio. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carson. We got to run out of here. Big show comes your way next. So long, everybody.
You leave no choice.
You're listening to 98.3 FM, WRLR LP, Round Lake, Illinois.